Alright, so here's a question for you. What is your favorite restaurant? Maybe it's somewhere really fancy with white tablecloths and $20 cocktails. Or maybe it's a chain where no matter where you are in the country, you can walk in and know you'll have a good meal. There's no wrong answer here, but I'll tell you mine. It's Buca di Beppo, or at least I think that's how you pronounce it. It's a chain here in the US that serves Italian food in huge portion sizes. In fact, there's this one dish that has pasta and shrimp that if you gave me one right now, I'd have to go back to my room and close the door behind me because what I do to that food is not fit for public consumption. But part of the reason why that place is so special to me is nostalgia. That would be the place that my parents would take me for my birthday every year growing up. And there was a streak of about 8 years where that's how I would celebrate my birthday. Though when that 9th year rolled around, I was offered to go to it again and I said no. Which might sound surprising. That is a routine at this point. How could I say no to my favorite restaurant? Well, if I'm honest, it's because I got kind of tired of it. Despite it being my favorite, going there every year and knowing that I would be going there every year made things a little bit less magical, a little bit less special. It was almost as if I was getting too much of a good thing. It's funny, I remember the feeling of saying no to that offer pretty clearly. It felt weird, but it was honestly how I felt. And I know this because I started to get the same feelings while I was at Anthrocon this year. Now, don't get me wrong, AC is still my favorite con, but this was the first time where I felt it wasn't as special as it was in the past. Just like at my birthday dinners where I knew where I was going and I knew I was gonna get my favorite dish, I knew I was going to have a great time at AC because it's my favorite. But did that precognition ruin things in the moment? Or in other words, despite how magical they are, when it comes to your favorite furry cons, can there be too much of a good thing? Let me explain. I'll be honest, the reason why my recap for AC took so long this year was that I really didn't know what to say about it. Long story short, it's still my favorite con and I had the most fun there out of all the cons that I've been to this year so far. Part of that was structural. AC took a lot of the negative feedback from last year and made significant improvements to some of the most important parts of the convention experience. The best example of this was registration. Last year they had people waiting outside the convention center, standing and basically baking in the sun. Whereas this year, while the line still broke outside, a vast majority of it was under the shade of the convention center overhang, where everyone was out of the sun and caught the occasional breeze through that space. They also limited badge pickup to those who were pre-registered and had a large number of volunteers helping out on Thursday. So once things did start moving, they kept moving for the most part. And they also started 90 minutes early, so I was done with registration before it was originally supposed to start. And there were a bunch of other little things that made the con go just a little bit smoother, like allowing fursuiters to use the staff elevators in the main hotel, to getting the top of the convention center open to help spread people around outside. The hotel shuttle system was much improved and a lot more accessible. The waterfront was still a great option for those who wanted to hang out there, and they stayed under their registration cap, though barely. Again, it was a great con. I had a ton of fun running around, taking videos, meeting a lot of you, catching up with old friends, and making new ones. It was everything that I wanted to get out of a con, and this con continues to do it the best, at least in my opinion. But that's not the problem. Anthrocon did its job. The problem was that I knew this was going to happen. For reference, this is my fourth AC in a row, and I was hooked right from the start, so it's still something I look forward to every year. But I gotta be honest with myself, this was the first one where the experience that I had didn't have any moments that topped anything from the last 3. Now I'm being a little unfair and I'm setting a pretty high bar for myself. I'll never forget my first AC in 22. 23 was the first one with my fursuit, and I met my partner there last year. But even abstracting all of that away, I feel like my experience at this con has hit a peak, and this year I really didn't break through that peak. Not only that, I went to some other cons this year where I did feel that spark and that magic I've gotten used to AC giving me. Vancouver was special because it was my first con in Canada and the first that I was able to drive to. Texas Furry Fiesta this year was the con where I met the most people that I still keep in contact with after a con. And man, further confusion, that was such a great way to start the year. From the nostalgia of growing up in the Bay Area to the balance of it being big enough to see a lot of people but not big enough to be overwhelming, if AC wasn't a thing, that would be my personal favorite con. All of that is to say is that AC now has competition from other cons and my own natural complacency of doing the same thing over and over again. So when I got back, I found myself asking myself, what can I do? Is it true that once you go to a con for long enough, it's just destined to lose a bit of its magic? Or are there things that I could have done to have maybe get a little bit of that spark back? Well, before we get into getting that spark back, I want to tell you about a sparkling new sponsor for the channel. That one needs work, but hey, it's my first time doing one of these. Give me a break. This video is sponsored by you. Yes, all of you who support the videos we make here through Patreon. In case you haven't seen it yet, I started a Patreon to help directly support all the things that we make here. I found that this is the best way for you all to help take this channel to the next level without having to do things like taking on random corporate sponsors. And this isn't one of those general support Patreons either. No, you get a lot of stuff for your support. Members can access all of my videos, both short and long form, 1 week in advance. So if you're a member, you can actually watch next week's public videos and shorts right now. You also get a chance to vote on video topics for the month, and you get a special role in my Discord server just for other members, where we dive into deeper discussions after videos are posted, work together in a private co-working space, and just hang out with each other. And finally, you get exclusive long-form videos every Monday that are just for Patreon members, where I get a chance to be a bit more open and honest about different topics regarding the fandom and just being a furry in general. For instance, if you want my real thoughts on AC's new fursuit parade rules, you can join and find out just what I had to say about them. It actually might surprise you. You can join at patreon.com/FinnThePanther and become a member to help us make the best furry edutainment videos that we can. Thank you for listening. Now, let's get back to figuring out just how to make Anthrocon special again. As I alluded to earlier, one of the reasons why I stopped going to Buca di Beppo for my birthday growing up was that it was an identical experience each and every time. Same location, same favorite dish ordered, same randomly having to smile while people saying happy birthday to me. I still don't know what the proper response is or what to do when people are singing happy birthday to you. But after that streak ended, I actually eventually did go back, ironically for a friend's birthday, and it was one of the best dining experiences I've ever had. Why? Well, even though it was the same restaurant, I did things differently while I was there. First of all, we did food family style, and since one of the people there was allergic to shellfish, I couldn't order my favorite dish for the table. So we tried a bunch of new things on the menu that I would normally just skip over, and oh man, the pasta, the chicken, even the broccoli was excellent. That was also the first time I went where it wasn't my birthday, so being able to spend my energy celebrating someone else was honestly quite refreshing. And there was just a different energy, a different vibe when you're celebrating a birthday with your friends instead of your family. You just present yourself differently in front of those two groups. And when you add all of them up, all of those changes brought the magic back to that restaurant. And I don't think that that was by accident. Doing new things at the same place made that same place feel new again. Which means if I want to make AC truly special again, I probably have to switch things up. Maybe next year I can actually sit in on a panel or two, something I haven't done at a con for a few years now. Maybe instead of shopping in the dealer's den, I get more art commissions in the artist alley, or actually bid on something in the art or charity auction. I could volunteer to help out with a con that I love so much. Maybe I'll take pictures and videos of my friends instead of just myself. Even something as simple as suiting in the morning instead of the afternoon when everyone else is out could be the simple change in my routine that I've been craving. I mean, that's the beauty of cons. Even though I've gone to that one for 4 years, I've barely scratched the surface of all the things that you could do at one that large. And I think I unintentionally pigeonholed myself into only doing the same set of things each and every time. Now, let me be clear. I understand and recognize that I am in an incredibly privileged position to not only be able to go to a con 4 times in a row, but to go to a bunch of other cons in the same year, to even have something to compare them to at all. And I want to reiterate, I had a fantastic time at AC. It's still the best time I've had at a con so far this year. But it didn't feel any better than the last few ACs I've gone to. And I think it's gotten to a point where I've just been using it as a crutch. I've always looked forward to the magic that AC provides, and I've treated it as my halfway point throughout the year. So when things aren't going too well in my life, I can always either look forward or look back on how wonderful AC was as motivation to keep going. But I think I've just run into that natural thing that humans do, where we get used to things very quickly. And I think I've gotten used to assuming that AC would just give me those magical moments without me having to do anything for it. It's a humbling reminder of the idea that you get out of a con what you put into it doesn't go away with experience. If anything, it becomes even more important the more you do the same cons over and over again. So if there's anything I got out of Anthrocon this year, it's motivation. Motivation to mix things up and try new things, not only at AC, but at all cons going forward. Because all furry conventions are still magical in their own way. It's just that sometimes you have to forge new paths through them to experience that same magic. Alright, that's it for this one. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you all in the next one, but until then, stay wild out there. Peace.